Welcome back to the lab. Wednesday morning. So we've been cranking away on the March there, doing things on that. And we've been cranking away. Can we see her? Abby the Barina, she's back there somewhere. In the meantime, there's been something else in the background, actually for quite a long time, that needs some looking at, some attention, some time, some money, some effort, some, hopefully not too much blood, maybe a little bit of blood. No tears, we don't want any tears, and I'm doing it quite early in the morning, so there shouldn't be any sweat. Got a little bit of that sitting on the bench. Normally, I'll be honest, I prefer to use Speedflow, but Aeroflow have got a good shop locally, so that works out for knickknacks and things very well. Not dissing or supporting either brand either way. Bigger projects I would prefer normally to go with Speedflow. So this is the 200 series because it's the Teflon line stuff. You need to use the Teflon line stuff these days for a reason. We'll take this with us because we might need this. And we'll go for a wander. We'll not trip over these things here. Yeah, see, I didn't die. So we're off to a good start today. This is our VK45 DE powered D40 Navara that desperately needs a clean. Full custom chassis, IRS in the back, lowered 6 inches compared to normal. We cheated a little bit. Some of that is to do with the diameter of the wheels and tyres, but what we're doing on that, this hose here, I don't need the torch. When it focuses you can see that. Guess what that's attached to? Oh, there's stuff in the way. Not there. That's the fuel pressure regulator. That's the return to the fuel tank. And look at the state of it. So that's now about 6 and a bit years old. And everyone was reasonably comfortable with using push-lock fuel hose at the time, or push-lock hose on fuel systems. And in fact, some things still say you can, but don't. Do not. That happens. It's only a matter of time before that gives up, and then oh yeah, we will need that. There's the exhaust, fuel hose, ready to fail, exhaust system. So this thing's just a touch over 6 years now old, and that is the second motor. We took the VK45DD out, we put a VK45DE in there. I noticed that at the time, and it was something that I need to get on with fixing it. Lockdown and all that sort of carry on. This thing is not done a lot of Ks since then. So before we get into our racing season, hopefully it's coming soon, starting in January, we'll get this sorted out. So the first thing we do is jack up the car, get underneath, make sure, it should be, make sure the pipe that is clamped onto way down in the bottom down there somewhere on top of the chassis, make sure our tube adapter will actually go onto that without too much drama. The rest of it's going to be easy. Here we go. I knew we'd use the torch for something under here. So as you can see, that's absolutely shot, that hose. That's ready to cause a big problem. That pipe, the return pipe that's heading off towards the back of the car there, I'm not going to try and show you that. It might actually be the next size up. So it could be either borrowing wifey's car to go get another tube adapter, or using the couriers, which is pretty risky these days. If you want to get things done on time, it's going to be fun. We'll put a tray under this, we'll get that hose off, get rid of the fuel out of it. We'll see where we're at. That's good as gold, eh? That's mint. We can put that back in for another go. That's worse than what you could ever imagine. Look at that. Look at the way that stretches out, far out. Are we interested in doing a pressure test on this to see what it actually, when it's going to let go now? That'll be interesting, eh? This is on the return side of the fuel system, so there is no real pressure in it. Maybe a couple of PSI, say 5 or something like that. Depends on what the fuel tank decides it's going to pressurize to. I can't imagine that holding 5 PSI. It'd balloon. Yes. Well, a new piece of hose definitely looks long enough, so that's good. We'll go 45 instead of a straight from our fuel pressure regulator, so that's good. We've got a straight for the other end, so that's good. So we're just going to make sure we can put this onto the pipe underneath the car, or run a new tube, which is not that hard, and we might do that. Well, there's the first whoopsie for the day. That's not dash 6 200 series, that's dash 8. Just as well I've got a box full of stuff that I can dig myself out of that little hole with, and in fact it's actually got a fitting on the end of it. That's a second-hand hose from the March, and nothing wrong with that, we can use that. Plenty of length there. It's just black, not raw stainless steel, so there's two different versions, right? You can, different brands too. This stuff's Speedflow and it's second hand, so it might not necessarily be a fair comparison. And this is the Aeroflow version of the same thing. Unfortunately, this length that is brand new is just not quite long enough, so it's more black. Tends to be the way it is, even brand new. That stuff tends to be a little bit lighter. And we've got a clear, I'm going to call it clear, opaque, whatever, greyish, silverish looking Teflon inside that, whereas the Speedflow stuff is black. So, hang on, we've got an exclamation mark on that one. That's damaged. I was going to say that's probably is the perfect length. But why have I got that on there? Don't trust it. Probably should be in the bin, to be fair. So that's our length we'll use there, with the hose fitting on the end of it, and we'll crack on. You'd think it'd be easy just getting a piece of hose, wouldn't it? Change of planes again. Look, buried under all that stuff. This is brand spanking new 200 series Speedflow, because it's got the black liner and it's got the plain stainless steel braid. The only reason why that would be preferred over the black second-hand stuff that came out of the March, I know its history and all that sort of carry on, is we've already got plain stainless steel braid in this vehicle. Let's just match that and keep everything looking nice. We all know it's never that easy, eh? So that's 10.3 outside diameter on there. Our tube nut adapter ID on all this is 9.6. So that's no good. That doesn't fit over the top of that. You can bore that out sometimes if you want to be doing that. I'm not wanting to be doing that. You can use emery tape or whatever. Maybe straighten this out enough that we can put it in the lathe and use a file or something like that. You probably won't need a cutting tool to take that minimal amount off. Turn the tube down to suit that. I'm not really wanting to do that because that's pretty thin walled tube. The other thing is it's insulated anyway, right? It's got a plastic sheath over it to protect it, which actually stops the heat coming out of the fuel on its way back to the fuel tank. So it's a very short piece of tube. I haven't measured that. I'm 6 foot tall. It's only up to me big fat belly, so let's call it 4 feet of tube. So let's just start with a new piece of tube, right? Easy peasy. And if you haven't seen these, what's inside here is a bit like the 200 series hose ends. I'm going to drop it on the floor and it's going to roll somewhere and disappear, and you can all laugh. It didn't. It's amazing. It's a little ferrule. It's got a taper on each side of it. Inside here is a seat for that to sit in. That sits in there. The nut comes down from the top, crushes that inwards, clamps it onto the piece of tube. We don't need another one for the other end. It's just standard hose. It's a different series of push lock hose that is okay for fuel, but so that just slips over there and do it up with the hose clamp. I will put a little flare on there to stop it sliding off, and yep, should be good as gold, except then we need all new P-clamps to hold the different size piece of tube as well. So 5-minute job. Going to be a couple of hours before it's done, but that's alright. Alright, that's that side of it all sorted out. That's replaced. That's gone, so it's not going to burst, and we're not going to have any problems with that. But there's always something else going on, eh? Anyone see that in there? Anyone see the black residue, the powder that's all through that? Most likely, and it's a funny colour, eh? That's a funny colour for fuel, I'm not liking that. But most likely what we've got is stuff from the inside of that hose coming adrift, going through the fuel system. So I've now got to take the fuel filter out, clean that. I probably will have to clean that multiple times over the next few months to make sure we get all of it out of the system. And we might be up for a new fuel pump. The veins in the Bosch 044s are a sort of a purpley browny sort of colour, and there's a bit of that going on with that fuel, so she might be on its way out. I do want to put an in-tank pump in it anyway. So let's get the fuel filter out, have a look at that. So I use these speed flow filters. They're reusable / cleanable filter, and they're pretty handy because you can change the micron rating of the filter element inside there. I don't remember what's in there. We're going to see the color when I take it out. I don't think it says how many microns it is on the actual filter. It's just got a color, and you look up on the Speedflow website, and then we'll all know. I'm not going to bother. It is what it is. I've got a fresh yogurt container. They're quite handy. They're not actually chemical resistant, but they last long enough that most of the chemicals evaporate before the container fails anyway. So I'm going to take the element out of that. We're going to wash it with some clean parts cleaner and see what comes out of it. No rocket scientists required here to know that we have got a lot of crud stuff. Insert whatever words we want to use that imply bad things. Yeah, they needed cleaning, didn't it? Not sure when that was done last. It won't be 6 years. It has had a service. It's actually had a filter change, a complete different filter. It wasn't a Speedflow one in there originally, so a lot of rubbish in that tank. Never mind, we'll get on with it. If I said that was heavily contaminated, that would be the understatement of the day. She was chocker, and in fact I'd say that filter would have been struggling to flow the required quantity. We may have been running slightly lean potentially. I suppose at full throttle or whatever, it could have been a bit lean. Pretty good now. Call that 100%. It hasn't been through an ultrasonic cleaner. We don't have one. That's what you would normally do. What I would do for a customer's car, especially something that's turbocharged, etc. However, for our old beta of a second-hand motor with second-hand bits and bobs slapped together, we are sufficiently... Can't even see in there, can we? She's black. So black and shiny. Sufficiently clean. It's had a really good blowout with an air gun from the inside. It's had a good washout with the fluid. We should be right. We'll put that back in, and we'll check it in a couple of weeks' time and see where it's at. The amount that's in there, there's a good chance that fuel tank's full of all sorts of things. Never mind. It happens. You can see that's all settling in the bottom of that. Yuck, yuck. Should we give this hose a pressure test? What could possibly go wrong? Actually, lots of things could go horribly, horribly wrong. Probably won't do it next to the glass there. I reckon I'm going to have to put some earmuffs on at bare minimum. The camera's refusing to stay zoomed in, so I'm going to have to hold it. Which puts us in the line of fire, so to speak. Let's put that over there somewhere. We'll stand here. That's open. Need to get a new knob for our regulator. Let's just crank it open. What's the worst that can happen? Nearly 50 psi. Actually looks larger than it's supposed to be. Cracks opening up. Still holding. It hasn't exploded yet. $80 psi. It's potentially just the outside liner that's horrid. It's not leaking. It's supposed to be rated for 300 psi, this particular hose. And I think that's all we've got from the air compressor is 90 psi. Probably shouldn't touch things like this under pressure. Yeah, it's good to go. Let's put it back in the car. Yeah, right. Well, that was very disappointing. I expected it to at least leak, but there you go. Even in that state there, which is pretty unwell, it's looking pretty haggard, and 100 psi, well, 90 wasn't it? 90 psi, I had no problems at all. Unlike the courier who just rang up looking for my address 20 minutes ago and still hasn't arrived. Never mind. Look at the state of it. Okay. We've got something else to do that's a bit more exciting than that. Now that was exceptional timing. I didn't actually plan this. I had something entirely different to be doing right now, which I will show you in a minute. Oh, it's a giveaway, isn't it? It's a giveaway. You guys know what's coming. Oh, can I even open it with one hand? Do you reckon I can? I don't think I can. Pause, cut. Look at what we have here. Look at what we've got here, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, etc. It's obvious, isn't it? Do I need to? I don't need to even say. 3 bar amp sensor is enough for us. That gives us up to about 20, somewhere near 28 psi of boost. In the ballpark, that's plenty. We only want to be doing maybe 20, so that's fine. Maybe if someone tells me I need to upgrade, we'll upgrade, but whatever. There we go. So this is an Extreme G4X. So that's what it's got in there. It's got some more stickers. I need some more stickers. I'll fill you in on all the details on why this is better and why we're doing this in a later video. Today's video wasn't really about this, so I didn't know it was going to turn up today. This is going to be a tidier install. We're going to sort out some stuff and things, and this is going to go better. The G4 Plus is a great ECU, it's awesome, and in fact I think we've actually got another job that may use that ECU, but if someone wants to buy it, please do, because otherwise wifey's potentially going to murder me unless I sell it quite quickly. Alright, we've got the thing that goes on there. We stuck it on there. I'm going to start undoing this stuff around here. See if you guys can figure out what we're up to today. It's a little bit unlikely we'll get to the fun part today, but I'll have a bit of a crack at it and we'll see. Hopefully we don't lose too much shape when I unstitch all this stuff here. The easier way is to buzz around with an angle grinder and just quietly take the actual edge off. And this will separate from here pretty simply. But I do want to use this edge here for something. And here's a perfect example of the worst preparation in the world to make yourself a carbon fibre bonnet. You guys figured out that's what we were doing. It's pretty obvious. Carbon fibre. Carbon fibre. All we're doing here is we're trying to reduce weight. We're not trying to make bling. So, and I said I was going to try and peel back the edges. I got actually quite a lot of it done, and then I figured out another technique. I ran the flappy disc on the grinder along there to make it a little bit thinner, and then it peeled back quite nicely. And then I decided I can't be bothered doing that with the whole lot, so I just took the whole edge off. Normally you'd run around with some tape and make an edge of your mold or your pattern or whatever you're going to call it, plug, whatever. I may or may not do that. I'll make up my mind tomorrow. This, what do we call it? Releasing agent, releasing compound, releasing film, PVA, whatever. That's going to take 15 to 45 minutes to set. It is 5:30 now. I could have dinner, come back out, finish this off while the little one's going to sleep. May or may not do that. No massive rush on it. Basically, we've got much less now because I've chopped it to bits. But this was 7.5 kgs, I think. Yes, that's what I've written on the board. That was 7.5 kgs. It's got that aluminium vent in there, which we can do this from carbon fibre as well. I don't know what that weighs, but it's not much. That was made from pretty thin aluminium, so I may or may not make another one of those. I could do that integral with this mold, but I don't want to because there's some things that I'm not happy with on the shape of that vent. So that's that. We'll get that smashed out. Tomorrow we've got a warrant of fitness on the old ute that we've just fixed up, which is actually goes better now, funnily enough. And we'll get Mr. Abby's dad, I guess we'll call him, and we'll put the motor in that thing. So that'll be some good progress. Alright, I hope this turns out alright. I'm not too fussed. It's a K12 March. If I make a mess of this, we'll just go get another steel bonnet. That'd be like $100 or something like that. You'd probably buy a brand spanking new one, OEM, for less than $300. Maybe. I did say I was going to check on the price before I cut this one up, but I'll just cut it up. Well, good. Thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.